you? Okay.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to start the Wilson County Commissioners Court. Today's date is Monday, April the 8th, 2024, 9 a.m., and we're going to be led in prayer by Commissioner Aiken, and then Pledge of Allegiance.
Father in heaven, we're grateful that we can come gather together to be able to do the work of Wilson County. Father, we're grateful for this county, this state, and this nation to where we're able to take and have a proceeding such as this for lack of fear from the government. Father, we know that this group that is here is to serve the public. Father, we're mindful of that fact, and we ask that in that duty that you guide our minds and our hearts, and that you help us to be successful. Father, we ask for your prayers over Wilson County, and that you help it to be a better place to live. All these things we ask in your Son's name. Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Agenda item number 3, do we have any public comments? Do you have public comment? Okay. All right, we have public comment from Commissioner King regarding collection facilities.
So, yeah. At the collection facility, we changed a few things, or we changed one thing up actually, and it's become a problem for some reason. I don't know why. But we provide everybody a receipt. We don't have theft. We don't have anything going on over there. It's the right thing to do, is sit here and provide a receipt of you're paying for a service. Here's your receipt, okay? Now we have people doing some, treating those people or not in a, I don't know how to say it. Cussing them out doesn't work, okay? So, and the public needs to know this. Those guys are doing exactly what we're asking them to do. They're not there to unload your trash. They're not there to do all that. They're there to provide a service and make sure you have a place to take your trash services and or trees or anything like that. Now, they are helpful in unloading and helping to an extent, okay? So providing a receipt doesn't come with a bunch of cussing and vulgar attitudes that those guys are getting. So I'd please, or I'd ask the citizens of Wilson County to please, if you don't want your receipt, put it in your trash can and put it in the dumpster with your trash. It's pretty simple. If you do want it, that's fine. Keep it for your tax records, okay? But these guys are there to provide you a service, not to sit there and get cussed and be treated the way they're being treated. If that continues, I will try and get a deputy out there. But we'll go from there. So that's my comment, and I'd appreciate it if the community can help us out as we're trying to help them out. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Agenda item number 4, certificates and completion of awards. We have 2. For the record, Judge Whitman attended 16 hours of continuing education in Lubbock. And we have Fred Onsurge that did complete his Open Meetings Act. He's part of the Wilson County Economic Development Committee. Is that the only Open Meetings Act from the committee members, or we had another one? This is the only one. Okay, all right. Agenda item number 5, we move to the extension activity reports. Anybody from AgriLife want to come up? We have your reports in here.
Is it on already? Oh, it is. Usually it's not on. Good morning.
Good
How is
morning.
everybody? Happy Monday. Y'all have all of our reports for the month of March, but we wanted to give a couple of highlights from this weekend and a couple of upcoming events. So on Saturday, I held a childcare provider conference. That's to provide clock hours to all of our childcare centers that watch our kiddos while we're at work every day. So that was a fun day. Allison had fun with the rabies clinic, so that's a fundraiser for our 4-Hers. And then we have another fundraiser coming up this coming Saturday on the 13th, which is our 4-H gala. So that was fun. I want to remind county employees that Walk Across Texas does start on Wednesday, so you can start clocking your steps and miles that day. I know some people already have their teams in. Thank you.
He's a runner, so he counts.
Oh, yes. Awesome. So, want to remind you on that. And Samantha?
So I'm jumping back into things. So I know it's been a little bit, but last week I did finally have a Lone Star Healthy Stream program, and we promoted a bunch of just, best management practices and water quality for those with livestock. We had about 50 in attendance, which made my heart happy. And if you look, we've got a bunch of upcoming, ag and natural resource, gardening, you name it, those programs are coming up in the next 2 months. So we'll fill those agendas. Yes, sir. Oh, looked like you had a question.
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
So I'm asking my agri-life experts, what's going to happen to all our livestock today when the eclipse hits?
I don't know, but I am that person that this morning on the news they were talking about the turtles and like the tortoises and they're watching them in I think Arkansas. And so, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. It could be nothing. It could be something. I'll follow up with you next week.
No, I had to ask you that.
I don't know.
Take a nap. They're like,
Maybe they'll just have a little bitty short 4-minute nap.
I don't know. The temperatures are gonna drop. I don't know. So, but I think that's all we have. And all the caterpillars you've been seeing, they will turn into butterflies. So that is my.
Yeah, is that an unusual thing to have that many in this time of year?
I don't really know.
We have them every year, but this seems to
I
be
don't-
more than it's ever been.
I don't feel like it's really that unusual. I guess it is unusual, but it's not necessarily good or bad. So I'm just
will be butterflies.
I'm
Don't
just
kill 'em off.
forewarning that it's coming. So
At least they're not the army worms.
no, not yet. So
Okay,
but
thank you,
that's
ladies.
all we've got.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
you, thank you very much. All right, we move to agenda item number 6. We have discussed take action to accept the proclamation for Child Abuse Awareness Month, read by representatives of CAST and our CAC. Who wants to come up and read the proclamation? Do you have a copy?
I do not.
Take care.
Good morning, Christina Martinez with Children's Alliance of South Texas, a child advocacy center. April is Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month, and this is our Child Abuse Prevention Proclamation. Whereas more than 600,000 children are abused in the U.S. each year, an estimated 618,000 children were victims of abuse and neglect in 2021, the most recent year for which there is national data. Whereas the federal fiscal year in 2021, 3.9 million reports were made to Child Protective Services. CACs investigated 247,543 cases involving sexual abuse allegations in 2022. And whereas child abuse and neglect is a serious problem affecting every segment of our community, and finding solutions requires input and action from everyone. And whereas our children are our most valuable resources and will shape the future of Wilson County and the state of Texas. And whereas child abuse can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects that have lasting consequences for victims of abuse. And whereas in Texas, 1 in 6 children will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. 98% of perpetrators are someone the victim knows and someone they know well. Whereas protective factors are conditions that reduce or eliminate risk and promote social, emotional, and developmental well-being of children. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education, health, community, and faith-based organizations, business, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we encourage public awareness of child abuse and neglect, recommit county resources to the cause, and promote community involvement through local activities. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promote the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and family. Now, therefore, Judge Whitman, please continue.
Don't have your,
Don't worry. Actual proclamation, yeah.
all right. Now, therefore, I, Wilson County Judge Henry L. Whitman Jr., do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Wilson County, Texas, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all our children and families. And I want to say, as the former commissioner of the largest agency in the state, being the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, I know how important this month is, because it was quite busy for us always there, always trying to take care of the children. Our caseworkers work hand in hand with you, and they have a difficult job just like you do, and we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion.
Judge, I make a motion to accept the proclamation for Child Abuse Awareness Month.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you so much. We'll have one of these signed and back to y'all. Again, for the minutes, I forgot to mention, we do have a quorum, but we are missing Commissioner Martin's on vacation, so just for the minutes, we will record that. Agenda item number 7.
Judge, you want a photo?
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Do what now?
Photo?
Yeah. Y'all want a photo? Oh, Adam, you cringed a little bit, do you?
I don't, but I know my boss does.
Yeah, come on. Come on. And just so the audience knows, we have a fundraiser for CAST, June, ladies, when is it? June 21st in Karn City. It's a roping. We did it last year and raised quite a bit of money, and I think already now we're in the black, right?
We're in the black.
Good. All right?
Yay.
There's a joke in that.
Agenda item number 7, Bobby Joe, Thriving Hearts Crisis Center, discuss take action on sexual assault proclamation. Do we have someone here? Come on up, ma'am.
Bobby Joe couldn't be here this morning, so she sent me. I'm Reagan. I'm the Community Engagement Specialist at Thriving Hearts Crisis Center, and I'll read the proclamation. It's on my phone, so I'm sorry if I can't read it all the way. Okay. Whereas every 68 seconds, another person in the United States is sexually assaulted, and in Texas, 2 in 5 women and 1 in 5 men are victims of sexual assault. And in fiscal year 2023, the Thriving Hearts Crisis Center rendered 1,410 services to 452 survivors of sexual violence and provided 124 hospital accompaniments for sexual assault exams. Whereas, according to a study conducted by the Texas Association Against Sexual Assault and the University of Texas at Austin Institute on Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault, approximately 6.3 million Texans have been sexually victimized, whereas most victims are sexually assaulted by someone they know, and 91% of victims did not report it to police, whereas it is appropriate to salute the more than 20 million victims who have survived sexual assault in the United States and the efforts of victims, volunteers, and professionals who combat sexual assault, whereas the national and community organizations and private sector supporters should be recognized and applauded for their work in promoting awareness about sexual assault, whereas police, forensic workers, and prosecutors should be recognized and commended for their hard work and innovative strategies to increase the percentage of sexual assault cases that resolve in the prosecution and incarceration of the offenders, whereas sexual violence is a persistent and pervasive problem in our society, one that requires attention year-round, and in order to foster healthy communities, all citizens must support the effort to end sexual violence every month of the year, and whereas national and community organizations, businesses in the private sector, and the media are urged through national sexual assault awareness of sexual violence and strategies to decrease the incidence of sexual assault. Did you want me to read the end?
You have the ending for me?
Yes, I can read it. Now, therefore, we, the undersigned, do hereby proclaim the month of April as National Sexual Assault Awareness and Prevention Month in Wilson County, and all citizens to observe this month by supporting the goals and ideas of victims and those working towards awareness and prevention, and by participating in community efforts presented on this 8th day of April 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion for agenda item number 7.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we adopt the proclamation to name April as the sexual assault month.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Perdola. Is there any other discussion on agenda item number 7? Hearing none, a call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it. Motion passes. It'll go into the record. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 8, discuss and consider Judge Shaw adding a part-time position. Judge Shaw to discuss with the court. Judge, you have the floor, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I'm here to ask for some money. Just plainly, So I have a request because over the last 16 months that I've been in office, we've seen a steady increase in number of cases, both civil and criminal, which has burdened the 2 clerks that I have to the point that they're working overtime, and it's something that I noticed in the fall. I got some statistics in a read ahead that I sent to you. 12% increase last year through August 31st from the previous year. We disposed of 709 cases, traffic and non-traffic misdemeanors. Civil cases, we had 452 civil cases on the docket, and we were able to dispose of 133 of them. We're adding on average 5 to 10 civil cases per week. One of the things that I've noticed is that we have in my precinct, a lot more, since the small claims cap has been raised to $20,000, there's more and more small claims cases being filed for car repossessions, auto loans, signature loans, credit cards, the rent-to-own industry. We're seeing a steady influx of that as a lot of people who were lost their jobs during COVID. It takes years to get to the point where collections agencies get to this and attempt to collect. So we're now at that point where it's a waterfall of cases based on that. And as you know, I ran on improving our juvenile attendance and truancy throughout last fall, throughout the last spring. We had a modest 14 cases of parent contributing. Since the fall, we have now got all 4 school districts on board. We're making a definite impact in that area. And just in the last 2 weeks, Livernia has 30 cases that they had given to us to file. Floresville ISD is well over 100 for the year. Each of these cases, including the civils, it takes time, effort, paperwork, correspondence back and forth with plaintiffs and defendants. And as you can see, it's a time-intensive activity. We also are in the highest for creating warrants. That's based on our locality with the sheriff's office. We are regularly asked to draft warrants for the sheriff's office. And last year we did 286 warrants between Class A, B misdemeanors, 48 felonies, and 61 KPS Pro fine warrants. Because of all this, our 2 clerks are overtaxed on the amount of time. We do cross-train them, so they're both able to do the other's job. But what I see is, in order to make it so that my office is efficient in doling out justice without due delay, I need a part-time person. So when I say I come asking for money, I come asking for an authorization for a part-time person to be added. In the read-ahead that I gave you, I had 2 options. One, at the time this was proposed and drafted in February, I was asking for $13,000 for to fund a seasonal temporary account. That person has already been trained, and I ran out of money in the account at the time. So she is already trained in both civil and criminal. If we go through the seasonal temporary, and I would ask Ms. Trevino to give her best judgment on how to fund this. Option B is that a part-time position be approved and funded for the mid-year. Grand total at the time was $16,073. Because time has elapsed, it's been 6 weeks. It's actually going to be less than that. It's going to be closer to $13,000 to $14,000 for the remainder of the year. With that, I'd ask that you give me any questions that you might.
Yeah, I have a few. So, what is the data on the other 3 judges? How did that compare to your data on your workload?
I don't have any data for precinct 2, but I do have for precinct 3 and 4. 4 is the closest to mine. We exceed all caseload within the county in precinct 1. In descending order, it'd be precinct 1, precinct 4, precinct 3, and then precinct 2 at the bottom.
That would help me out a little bit if I saw the comparison on the numbers. The other, I have a couple more questions. I hope I don't steal any of y'all's questions, but the truancy cases.
Mm-hmm.
Why are they not going to their respective justice of the peaces? Why are they coming to
Why
you?
isn't Judge Terry handling Lavernia's case?
The 4 of us, the 4 JPs, all agreed last January that to have consistency, and I volunteered to have truancy court for the entire county. So I'm doing the entire county, and we all agreed that it was fine between the 4 of us.
Okay. And on the warrants, are you like doing most of the warrants for the sheriff's department?
I am doing most of the warrants for the sheriff's department.
Doesn't make sense.
It's mostly because I'm just down the hall from them. So I'm in the building a lot. So they tend to walk down the hall, ask me if I'm available. They'll swear out a warrant to me. I'll then draft it.
Terrace is right across the hall from you. Does she get just as many?
She doesn't get as many as me, but she does get asked to draft warrants as well.
Well, the only other thing that we can't approve a position maybe for if you're, are you talking about immediately? Because it's not considered an emergency to amend the budget.
It's
Are
not-
you asking immediately, or are you asking, is this something you're planning for next budget cycle, which we're already starting to work on now?
I wouldn't consider it an emergency, but I would like to get it funded so that I can start to catch up on the backlog that we're experiencing. It is something that I want to have included in next year's budget, but I'm looking to try to finish the year with a part-time position and be able to have that position in place, authorized for the fall.
So the part-time position sounds better than saying a seasonal employee, because if the way I've been taught is that a seasonal employee is just temporary here, now, and then. But if you start using them past the 32 hours or 40 hours, now you're taking that funds and making it a full-time position, which can get us in
Right.
trouble.
I'm asking for 24 hours a week so that we can have that individual work 3 8-hour days. The problem is trying to do all of the paperwork and still man the window to accept payments. We've made incremental change I started a kiosk, a self-service kiosk in my waiting area, so people can come in and pay their tickets without having to see the clerk. They're able to sit down at a computer that John Holcomb was able to cobble together from outdated parts, and it still works for us. So we do that, and we're open during lunch so that people can come in during their lunchtime and have the service that they need provided. So it is just a lot of work by very few people. And that's the crunch that I'm in, is that for whatever reason, Precinct 1 is busier than the others.
So my question to that is, why did you volunteer to do all of the truancy, and now then you've put yourself in a position where you've got to have more help?
Well, I'm fulfilling a campaign promise in that when I campaigned, the reason that I chose to become a judge and campaign for it was that as a teacher at Floresville High School, I noticed that there was a definite problem with truancy, and I didn't want to default on my promise to the public that I would take care of truancy. When the other 3 JPs agreed to allow me to do all of truancy, it was going to be, Floresville is by far the highest truancy rate within the county, followed by Lavernia, and then Stockdale.
No, by all means.
Yeah, I can understand that, but I didn't realize that it was going to be that many cases. But yes, I'm still determined to take care of the truancy issue.
You do realize that we have budgets, all of the elected officials have budgets. Can you imagine if everybody comes to us and says, oh, by the way, I've decided I need more money in mid-year, where are we gonna get that? I mean, I can use more money. I don't have nearly enough money to fix the roads or repair the roads that I would like to get fixed.
I understand.
Constituents would like to get fixed.
I understand what you're saying, and I do my best to be a good steward of the taxpayers' money. I wouldn't be here today if I didn't actually need it, because I deal with my budget the best that I can. I have moved money within my budget to try to make this happen for the individual to be trained, and unfortunately, I ran out of money within my personal budget for my office. So that's why it's important to me to be here today to make this request, is that if it weren't necessary, I wouldn't be here to do it.
Judge, it sounds like you overloaded yourself with this, and, you know, you're doing great with it. I did talk to both, and they told me they're going through JP too. So I'm kind of wondering about that. The other JPs should be held accountable for their truancy as well. Right? That's my personal opinion, because of the simple fact that you just showed that you are way overwhelmed trying to do the whole county. And I understand you ran on it. You and I talked about that several times. The other thing is, I don't agree with the sheriff's department going to you for everything. There's 4 JPs for a reason. We got to split the load where it belongs. And without talking to the sheriff, I don't know more detail about that. So I understand you're accessible, you're right there, but so is JP4, you know what I mean? So splitting that a little bit, But once again, we have 4 JPs for their precincts for a reason, and my opinion is the sheriff should be taking those to whoever is working that week, right?
I understand that.
So that's gonna help drop your caseload down as well. We have 2 JPs with 2 secretaries, we have 2 JPs with 1 secretary each. So whenever you're coming to us asking for that third, you know, and I do talk to JP2 quite a bit. He's in his office doing his tickets, he's in his office doing his stuff as a JP as well as his clerk. I'm not saying you're not,
Right.
so don't take it that way. But I know that he's just as busy as the others with 1 clerk.
Right.
So that's my concern about this whole thing right here is adding another person really the fix, or is it we have too much on our plate right now? Okay, so that's something that I would like to talk to the judge about prior to doing it, or as you were the sheriff's department about, prior to doing something with this. So, but those are the things I had, because I mean, 30 more cases on top of Floresville. Floresville's already humongous. So, and I know Poth doesn't have a whole lot, but they have a few of them. Like I said, I talked to Poth since I got this letter. But that's all I got.
Mr. Trevino, I can ask you again, am I wrong by saying that we can't do this in midstream and it has to be in a budget cycle? It's not an emergency.
So the statute states that Commissioners Court can make a budget amendment. The specific wording is in a public calamity. So if the court deems this as an emergency, then you certainly can do a budget amendment. It's not something that I, as auditor, like to see unless it is for, a specific public need. I would like to point out, though, this is really great data. But I'd also, and I did share this with Judge Shaw because he did come and speak with me at length over all of this. All of the data that he provided was for last fiscal year, September of '22 to August of '23. I informed Judge Shaw that this would have been valuable information to have last June, July, when we were working on our new fiscal year budget, for the reason that my question that I posed to him was, can your office today not function without this third person? Is that what you're deeming an emergency? To which I don't remember if I got a clear response or not.
I did not declare it an emergency. It's,
Right, I think that's what you did say, that there wasn't, but I didn't want to put words in your mouth. Because I did advise him that this is information that's needed to be presented before you while we are in the course of building our new budget so that we can plan accordingly. So my question, or as I look at these numbers, is if you had all of these numbers back then, why didn't you come back then when we were preparing the budget, and it would have made it a lot easier?
that's a great question, and the truth of the matter is I did not have these numbers at the time. These numbers were created in December for the previous year.
Yeah.
So I didn't have this annual report done until the week before Christmas, because that's when each JP is required to have it filed.
Oh, so these are numbers that you have to report to a
Correct.
state agency or
Yep.
something like
So
that?
at the time that the budget was approved and first being put in, none of this data existed.
So I would encourage you, just aside from your request today, I would encourage you to start working on whatever numbers you can, because as Judge mentioned, as we're starting to prepare for the budget season starting in June, these numbers for the new fiscal year, or the fiscal year that we're currently in, are going to be very helpful for any future requests for your office. So, and then just to confirm, I just wanted to add also as a reminder, and going back on what Judge Shaw mentioned, it was in November where the court approved to transfer, I believe it was $4,000 from some of his other line items into, and added a temporary line item in November. And then once he exceeded that $4,000, we had to put a stop to it, and thus bringing him to your request today, so. or to his request today.
So Judge, what would that look like if that's spread out between the judges and that rightfully so, they can still do the warrants and then they have their truancy? Would that alleviate the pressure from your
It would a little bit, but the thing that is really killing us is the civil actions. The civil actions that are coming at us, left and right. 5 to 10 new civil actions are being submitted every week. That's a lot of paper. Doing every case file, putting it into the computer, as well as making correspondence back to the lawyer, sending it off to the defendant, waiting for an answer from both. So the paper, every one of those generated, you can consider at least an hour of work. So the 5 to 10 per week is another 5 to 10 hours on top of what we're already doing.
So the 5 to 10 a week on civil actions, are they within your JP1 jurisdiction?
They're all within my precinct.
You got a lot of people filing suits in here.
There are, true, and I don't think that was one of the things that when we redistricted, that we took into account was the socioeconomic factor, in that we have more people that are of less income within my precinct than others, which affects these civil actions by far.
Brenda, if you don't mind, have we looked at what JP1's bringing in and all the JPs, I should say, not just picking on JP1, but
I don't have the specifics. I'd have to get with the county treasurer to pull those reports, because the fines and fees are allocated not just to the general fund, but to each road and bridge precinct as well. So I know he stated here that in last fiscal, or in the time period that he's reporting, that he collected $145,513, but I have not verified that number yet. So no, I don't have that available today.
Is there any way we can get the data from the other three? Okay, we can?
Yeah, there's monthly reports that they submit to me.
Okay.
Get that together.
Yeah, all right. Well, well, Commissioners, obviously, we're not going to be able to entertain a motion on something we can't approve. It's not an emergency. Can we table this, consider tabling it, and while the judge does some more research? Or we do more research?
No, the table would call for it to be coming back up.
It would be coming.
I mean.
You don't want to?
In what time frame? A month, a year? I mean,
Whenever well, I mean, it'd have to be before we approve the budget for next year. I mean, if we want to consider that.
If I may, I think what he's asking is for immediate relief now while we're in the current budget year. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Judge Shaw, he will be coming back if a part-time employee, an actual added position, is not approved today. I believe Judge Shaw has intentions on coming back in June and July when we start working on fiscal year 24-25 budget to ask for that. I believe what he's asking for is immediate relief in the current budget.
and that's why I'm concerned.
Everything she said.
Well, we can
About
consider a
tabling it.
motion.
And is it a possibility to split this truancy up between the other JPs to relieve some of your load? And
It could,
spreading these warrants between the other JPs?
if we split up the truancy, I'm fine with that, as long as
And you volunteered to do it, but
Right.
obviously it's putting
I will still, have Floresville, there is a major school district in each of the 4 precincts. So that's totally fine if we were to split it up. Poth has only filed 2 cases. So that wouldn't affect me hardly at all. I see, on average, about a dozen cases a week on truancy.
how many in precinct 4?
Precinct 4 is not as many. Throughout the whole school year, I think they've done about 2 dozen. Lavernia is really the one that is starting to ramp it up and get our numbers up. So all told, Floresville accounts for about 75% of the truancy issue within the county. So it wouldn't reduce my workload by that much. And then we're going to get a reprieve here in about another 6 weeks when school is out. Across the board, they've decided to stop filing the 3rd week of May for truancy cases because it's going to be the end of the school year on the 4th week.
I would like also to add, I don't know, I don't have any of this data for JP Precinct 1 prior to Judge Shaw coming into office, the court may not be aware because some of you may not have been here at the time either. But JP1 started out with one full-time chief clerk and a part-time clerk. And then in the course of Judge Varial's time, that part-time clerk rolled into a full-time. So he operated with the two full-time clerks at the time, so.
I think I'm the only one who hasn't chimed in. So, of course, you stated that taking the truancy off is probably not going to release a whole bunch of your office's workload anyways, but
Correct.
I think you've heard the consensus on the table is that each of the different precincts should be tending to that precinct's work. It's not an emergency, so, I mean, that's kind of where we are on being able to do anything on that aspect of it. And it'll need to be something that you'll have to
Right.
approach us for.
I'm not going to stand here and lie to you and say it's an emergency. You know, I couldn't do that in good faith. It would be great if this was approved. It would make our lives a little easier, and the clerks that I have would be able to work just a standard 40-hour week instead of having to work an extra 2 hours after we close the doors. Because that's where we're at right now, is that in order to try to stay with our heads above water, at least one or both will put in an extra couple hours a week, you know, after we're closed to the public. And nobody likes to work when they should be home having dinner.
And also, just for the record, I needed to confirm with our treasurer, so he doesn't have overtime budgeted. His clerks are earning compensation
Right.
time to cover for that, so.
So, yeah, they're not earning the overtime that they would be. They're getting comp time instead. So we're still doing our best to stay within our budget for salaries.
Just
Hey,
for
so I need to ask-
clarification, the
I got a
comp time
question
can only
about
go up to 40 hours.
Right, so, would that be an option for, is he able, in the new budget, have funding for overtime? Because, I mean, if they're working that much, they're not gonna be able to take the comp time.
Yeah, in the new budget, you're saying, can we
Yes.
add a line? Yeah, I mean, at that time, yes. Yeah, and just keep in mind also, the comp time stops at 40 hours. So once one or both of his current assistants reach 40 hours of comp time, they can't earn any additional comp time until some of it's taken.
So how long do they have before that expires and we have to pay them time and a half? That's the federal
Well,
law?
the comp time is earned at time and a half anyway. And the comp time remains with them as long as they're employed with the county, up to 40 hours.
So my understanding by federal law, if it matures in 1 year, they either had to have taken it or you have to pay them. Am I correct or am I wrong?
I have to double check into that because we have not got to that point because they are taking.
Okay.
But from a payroll.
Well, I can tell you that in the federal law, it does say that. That 1 year matures, if they had not taken it, we have to pay them that comp time as overtime. Okay.
Look into it just to make sure that they are taking it. From payroll, what we see, they have been using it.
And periodically, they are able to take it because I don't want them to get overworked. You know, I ensure that they get some time off.
Well, and I stand corrected, Commissioner. You're right, it's not an action item. So this is here to discuss and consider. So, I judge, let's start doing our homework and get ready at least for the next budget.
Oh, yeah. Can do.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 9, Ms. Brenda Trevino, our county auditor, discuss, take action on a resolution authorizing County Judge Hank Whitman and County Auditor Brenda Trevino as authorized signatories for contractual and financial documents for the purpose of grant funding.
Yes, so we are in the process of beginning all of the documentation that's required from the Texas General Land Office. for one grant that we were awarded for the rewrite of our hazard mitigation plan. As we begin that process, one of the requirements that the GLO has is that the court adopts a resolution naming 2 people as authorized signatories. It must be 2 people. I spoke with Judge Whitman and asked who he wanted those 2 people, and he has recommended himself and myself. So I would like to read the resolution for your consideration. State of Texas, County of Wilson, resolution of the County of Wilson designating an authorized official/signatory for all grant, contractual, and financial documents within the Texas General Land Office. Whereas the Commissioners Court of Wilson County designates County Judge Henry L. Whitman and County Auditor Brenda Trevino as the grantees' authorized signatories for contractual and financial documents on all grants for Wilson County on behalf of the Texas General Land Office. The authorized signatories are given the power to apply for, accept, reject, alter, or terminate the grant on behalf of the applicant agency. This resolution is specific to any community development and revitalization grant from the Texas General Land Office. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners Court of Wilson County approves this designation to the Texas General Land Office for contract number 22-130-051-E468 and any future contracts with the GLO, passed and approved by Commissioners Court of Wilson County in Floresville, Texas on this 8th day of April 2024.
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion for agenda item number 9, and for the minutes, Judge Whitman abstains.
I will make a motion that we approve Henry L. Whitman Jr., County Judge, and Brenda L. Trevino, County Auditor, as authorized signatories for contractual and financial documents for the purpose of grant funding. Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdola, seconded by Commissioner King. Any other discussion on agenda item number 9? Hear none, call for the vote. All those say aye.
Aye.
All those against? The ayes have it, motion passes. Move to agenda item number 10. Ms. Brenda Trevino, County Auditor, discuss and take action on dispersing budgeted fiscal year 2024 hotel occupancy tax funds.
Thank you, Judge. I have provided you what I'm going to read to you. So this is the 5th year that Wilson County has been collecting the hotel occupancy tax funds. I'd like to read Section 352.1015, which is the statute related to the use of the revenue under general provisions, Section E in the tax code. Revenue derived from the tax authorized by this chapter is to be expended in a manner directly enhancing and promoting tourism and the convention and hotel industry as permitted by the applicable provisions of the subchapter governing the use of revenue by that particular county. That revenue may not be used for the general revenue purposes of general governmental operations of a county. Wilson County currently has $212,449.57 in the hotel occupancy tax fund balance. This is the 5th year that we're collecting the tax, and you have chosen to disperse it to organizations who promote tourism in our county as defined in the tax code that I read. After discussion with our county judge, I have outlined for you a recommendation. Historically, we have dispersed half of what's in our fund. I always previously would try to keep half just in case the court was asked for any future funds that we didn't deplete at all. However, by law, we are not to sit on the money either. So I encourage for any organization that fits under the provision of the law that I read, that would bring basically putting heads into beds, as the state likes to call it. And so I've outlined the La Vernia Chamber of Commerce, the La Vernia Greater Chamber of Commerce, the Floresville Chamber of Commerce, the Floresville Opry, which is operated by the Historical Society, the Floresville Peanut Festival Association, and the Stockdale Chamber of Commerce. All of those organizations, especially the last three, the Floresville Opry, which holds their Opry once a month, have consistently been sold out, and are bringing in people and filling up hotels. The Floresville Peanut Festival Association holds their two major events in doing the research on the data in May for their annual barbecue cook-off, as well as the second weekend of October when the hotels are filled completely for the annual festival as well. And then the Stockdale Chamber of Commerce hosts their annual Watermelon Jubilee in the second or third weekend of June? Third weekend of June. Historically as well, the data has proven that the hotels and all of the lodges are filled during that weekend as well. The total amount requesting to be dispersed is $145,000, which still would leave us a good chunk in the rolling balance. And we still have 6 months to collect for this fiscal year. So I would imagine that beginning of the new fiscal year, whatever is being dispersed it's just a constant roll, so. Any questions?
All right, Commissioners, I'll entertain a motion for agenda item number 10.
Judge, I'll make a motion that we accept the provided disbursement from the county auditor to be able to outlay this fund from the hotel occupancy tax.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion regarding agenda item number 10? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it, motion passes. Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item number 11. We have Commissioner Scott Aiken, Precinct 4, discuss and take action on entering into a contract with the Stockdale Independent School District for the purpose of providing a school resource officer.
Judge, the sheriff was unable to be here this morning, and so I'd like to table this issue until he's able to be present in court.
Yeah, okay, motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner King. I did have some discussion, but we can't have that if it's getting tabled, so there's many questions I have, so. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? The motion passes to table agenda item number 11. Agenda item number 12, where Commissioner King, Precinct 2, will go to 12A, accept the resignation of Chief Anthony Flores from the ESD4 Board.
Yeah, so I got the resignation from Chief Anthony Flores, and with his new current position right now, there's quite a bit going on as the chief here in Floresville for the police department. So I'd like to make a motion to accept his resignation from the ESD4 board.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. Is there any other discussion? And that sounded like a bad word, Chief. That just, you're moving on to better things, brother. You're doing better stuff, so. Okay, is there any other discussion? Hear none, I call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. We move to 12B, recommend Mr. Joe Rodriguez to replace Anthony Flores as the ESD4 board member.
So I got to sit down and meet Mr. Rodriguez. Matter of fact, Anthony brought him to me and we had a good discussion and everything else. He's bringing a lot to the table whenever it comes to fire and EMS. So I think that'd definitely benefit ESD4's board. But I would like to make a recommendation to accept Joe Rodriguez to replace Anthony Flores as on the ESD4 board.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Paradola. Is there any other discussion on agenda item 12B? Hear none, a call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, the motion passes. Congratulations, Mr. Rodriguez. I need, if you would, please stand up to the podium, and I'm going to swear you in. All you have to do is state your name. I'm going to say everything else for you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I
Joe Rodriguez,
do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of Commissioner ESD4 of the state of Texas and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state, so help you God.
yes,
All right, sir.
Thank you for serving.
thank you. Okay.
All right, then the last thing I'm going to read to you, and again, just going to confirm.
Yes, sir.
I,
I, Joe Rodriguez,
do solemnly swear or
Do so-
affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value or promised any public office employment as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof, so help me God.
yes,
All right, sir. Just sign right there.
yes, sir.
Right here.
Right here.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you, sir. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 13, we have Ms. Luz Rato, Permitting and Development Director. We'll go to 13A, Heritage Woods, County Road 321. Review and approve final plat, discuss and take action. Discuss and take action on acceptance of letter of credit of $880,100.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I do have the plat here in front of me for Heritage Woods, and there is a representative here to speak on its behalf if you have any questions. This did get approved by the review committee. It did have some drainage issues that had to be addressed, but all those were addressed before the committee gave it a favorable recommendation. And I have the Mylars if anybody wants to see them.
With the corrections,
With the corrections, yes. These are the, yeah, the old, yeah.
or the judge's glasses here. Yes.
Here, you can have these. They need to get signed anyway.
Oh, man.
Arms are only getting so long.
These,
That's a title sheet. They're not in order. The ones in the bottom are the actual plat.
The ones on the bottom of the actual plat. Yeah. Here's the actual plat.
Mr. Jaskinia from Intrepid is here if you have any questions.
This is in my precinct on County Road 321. We met with Mr. Stonish, neighboring properties. He had some concerns about drainage issues, which we addressed with the engineer, Mr. Russell Jaskinia, who is here this morning as a representative. I think he did a great job of revising and addressing some of those issues. It's kind of a weird piece of property. We don't have a bar ditch on 321 because the road goes from fence post to fence post. So the water is actually going to be released directly onto Mr. Stonish's property on the north end of the property. So there's no bar ditch for the water to go into, so that's why Mr. Stonish was concerned, rightfully so, because that water is being,
It was a single point discharge at the
directly onto
time.
his
Yeah,
property.
before they came to the agreement to put silk screen, what's it called, the
so he.
fencing?
The engineer added a spreader bar that will spread the water out in a larger area, added more riprap rock to help with absorption. Mr. Stonish has stated that he will hold the county and the developer accountable if it causes erosion and ditching, but we've done, I think, as much as we can to eliminate those. But we won't know until we get one of those torrential down.
Big heavies, yeah.
So,
Mr. Juskini, you want to add anything?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Commissioner Fredola knows exactly, we've been site multiple times. We met all the county's minimum standards and actually went above and beyond, added some extra erosion control and modifications to the pond to help with the absorption.
Hey, we can hear you, but the people online can't.
Yeah, come on.
You'll come to the microphone.
Yeah, so.
Thank you.
Just to kind of compile on what Commissioner Perdola said, we've been out to the property, we rode it with him. We've, met all the county's minimum standards, and we actually added some extra erosion control measures to help with any issues that he sees, possibly in the future, so.
It's kind of a strange situation because where this water is released and going toward Mr. Stonish's property, that's the low area, true enough. But then the land rises back up, so there's nowhere for the water to go.
Right.
Other than possibly creating a pond, and we're in hopes that the sandy soil will absorb.
Which is what it does now. So over time, you may get a small buildup over a little bit of time, but being that it's so much sand, it infiltrates over time and then
Because
passes
there is
under,
no
so.
county mortgage for the water to.
Correct.
to, so we have no choice.
Very small right away there.
We do plan on amending our drainage requirements for development, the regulations.
Okay.
So that being,
Right here, it's gonna be spread out, so that discharge doesn't just go straight into his property. Mr. Yesenia is fixed in here with Commissioner Perdola, so it's gonna fan out, but it won't cut into it. The goal is to make it not cut into his property.
Correct.
like
we've
had
gone
on
above and
these other
beyond
new-
the engineering requirements to try to ensure that Mr. Stonish doesn't have any issues.
Correct.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for 13A12.
I will make a motion that we accept and approve the final plat for Heritage Woods on County Road 321.
Check.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner King. Is there any other discussion? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those against? Ayes have it, motion passes. We are now going to recess from regular session and go into a 10 o'clock public hearing of application for revised plat of Glenn H. Kaufman subdivision Lot 2 and B. And then we'll discuss subdivision Glenn H. Kaufman Lot 2 and B replat. Number 1, review and approve final plat, discuss and take action. So we are in, now in this session now, this public hearing for agenda item number 13B. Okay?
I've never done a public hearing before, so I don't know. The representative and the engineer for the replat are here. We did get a couple questions, both me and Commissioner Perdola over the weekend. And a lot of it just, I think, could have been addressed if they knew what a replat actually was. A little bit of information cleared up a lot of questions, but I know Commissioner Perdola had got a lot of calls over the weekend about it.
I got 6 calls yesterday on Sunday. The people that are out there in the Kaufman subdivision are not happy about the property being split up. They all bought 5-acre plots. So they're concerned that with this property being split up, that, of course, they're facing the unknown. They don't know if they're gonna put, what they're gonna put there, what they're gonna do with it. They all bought larger tracts and, of course, are not happy that the property is being split up into smaller tracts. However, Ms. Serato and I went over the deed restrictions this morning, could not find any. That subdivision, I believe, was done in
1978, yes. So all the county has is a filed plat on it, no filed covenants and restrictions for it.
Restrictions on the, recorded anywhere. So that being said, the developer has met all requirements to replat this property. I just wanted the court to know that there are quite a few neighbors that are unhappy about this, so.
This subdivision has seen splits before in their property. They've just been taken care of, usually one at a time, as perhaps a variance that goes through, or non-standard plat that goes through our office. They are taking a 5-acre tract and splitting it up into 1.67 acres. So they went through the official replat process. That means they have to provide surveys, drainage studies, pretty much like starting a subdivision. You know, they have to ensure that the surrounding properties will not be affected by the split of their land.
Is this gonna be residential, or?
I have them signed up for public comments, so. We good to go for the public?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so we have two gentlemen, and forgive me, gentlemen, I may not say your name right at the end. I can't read the writing. Is it Mr. Schomer?
Schomer.
Yeah, Mr. Schomer, and the other one's Ryan?
It's close enough.
Ken Reininger. Close
You can
enough.
call me anything, just not late for dinner.
All right, well, I can read Ken. I'll just call you when you get up here. All right.
Is it Reiner?
My name is,
Reiner.
Reininger, okay.
my name is Michael Schomer. I'm the developer and the owner of the property. And I just signed up for comments because in case y'all want to speak to me, I have to be on the list.
Well, the neighbors are concerned. They don't know there was a piece of property further down toward the back of that subdivision that got split up here a few months back. And I understand there were a bunch of small trailers out there, and now it looks like a trailer park, and so the residents are not happy about that.
Yeah,
The residents on that street paid to have that street paved. The county did not pave it. They paid a tax for, I don't know, 11 or 12 years to have that street paved. So, if it weren't for the residents there, that wouldn't be a paved street, it'd be a gravel road.
yes, I understand.
So they've got legitimate concerns. And one of the other concerns is that road is open at the end, and it was not originally. And I understand there's oil field traffic going in and out of there, dumping salt water down at the end of that street, and they're not happy about that. So that's another issue. But all of these issues have come to light with the splitting of this property.
Are they dumping the salt water just out on the,
There's supposedly.
Oh, they're disposal?
Well, at
Okay.
the end of that property, but again, they're traveling down that street that these people paid for. And, the 18-wheelers, I understand, are taking a heavy toll on that road. So,
It is a county road, though.
yeah, we were looking into that this morning, and some of the homeowners said, well, our deed shows that we own that road. So what do we do if we want to sell a piece of property and we own that section of road in front of our property? So I haven't had a chance to address that with Ms.
is that
Serrato
true?
yet.
Yes, it goes with the deed. They, when they own their own private lane, they own up to the middle of the road. So essentially, they're all responsible for upkeeping it.
So why is it our road? It belongs, why is it the county's road now?
Well, when those people paid to have it paved, they paid extra taxes for 11 or 12 years to pay for the county
County took
paved
it over.
Okay.
But they paid for it, and then there was some type of dedication, but I haven't been able to dig that far yet to see what the dedication was, if the landowners actually dedicated their portion of the deeded property to the county, so it's now county-owned road, or whether the residents still own it. So I wasn't here. That was way before my time.
Yeah. Do you have any questions, more questions for me? Thank you.
Ken, you,
Just opened up another can of worms.
Ken, you have the floor, sir?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ken Reininger. If y'all have any questions, I'll be more than happy to at least try to answer them. The ownership of the road, I believe that the fact that the public has been using that road, that it's a public road, difference between a public road and a county road is what the county maintains. That's my opinion. So when I do a survey on a road that's public, then I don't survey out to the center of the road, because why would somebody want to own to the center of a public road if there was an accident on that and the attorneys found out that I own to the center of the road where that accident was, they'd throw my name up against the wall and include me on the suit. So I don't survey. They're paying taxes on it, but the public, you don't have any use of it. like, other than driving on it in there. If y'all have any questions,
Are you suggesting that the people that own half that road should deed it back to the county and?
sure. Yeah, that would clear the title up for sure.
Good luck on that. Get all
Yeah.
those people to agree to do that.
Yeah, but if I owned the center of a county-maintained road or public road, I wouldn't want to own it. I'd want to give it back because I wouldn't want any liability for a county road.
We have several of those roads in the county.
Sure,
In my precinct,
everywhere, everywhere. They're all over the place.
Road, Deer Park,
I bet if you got really down to it, I bet there's a whole lot more than you realize.
Rolling Hills, all of those roads, the public paid to have those roads paved and took up a road tax and paid it out over a number of years. I'm not clear on whether the roads were dedicated to the county and they're now county roads. Or whether that's still up in the air as far as whether they're county or public or private.
If they're in the county road system, if we are dedicating our tax monies for the 4 road and bridge departments to do work on them, because in my time, I've had people go, I want you to come, I go, that's a private lane, I can't work on a private lane. But the fact that they're a county road in the county road system, wouldn't that take and say that we're the owners?
No,
It does not.
no. I mean, you have to look at the title to the actual land, and if the title belongs to the homeowner partial, then they are title owners, and the city just has either easement or license or authority to maintain it, but that does not convey ownership.
Doesn't convey ownership. You just gave us all a headache.
I got a good one over there in my precinct. Well, I think that's all the questions I've got.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, regarding 13C, approving the final plat, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion, I wanted it to be known that there were concerns by neighbors. I think they've met all of the requirements.
They did, yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve the application for the revised plat of the Glenda Coachman subdivision, Lot 2NB.
Okay.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner King regarding 13C1. Any other discussion? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, ayes have it, motion passes. We will adjourn this public hearing and go back into regular Commissioners Court session. I understand, Judge Stewart, well, I just promoted the sheriff. I'll switch jobs with him. Sheriff Stewart is not here, but we're gonna throw Deputy Hawkins up here. No, I'm joking.
Sorry. Sorry, Judge. There's still a
I
second
think the
part.
sheriff gave his report in the last meeting.
Yes, Heritage Woods has a bond agreement, then has to be accepted as well.
Okay,
13.
that's 13B.
2.
2, I'm sorry, we didn't discuss, okay. So I'll entertain, let's go back into public hearing, 1013. I apologize, it was overlooked.
Sorry.
13.2, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that since we approve the final plat, that we accept the letter of credit of $880,100 on the Heritage Woods subdivision.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Paradola, seconded by Commissioner Aiken. Any other discussion on 13.2 in public hearing? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. All right, now, we will officially adjourn our public hearing again, and we will go back into regular Commissioner Court session, and I understand Sheriff Stewart's not going to be here for a report. We move to agenda item number 15, Genevieve Martinez, discuss and take action on Commissioner Court minutes.
And the minutes have been reviewed by the county judge and the county attorney's office.
You got a plat? I got a plat.
He's got everything down there.
Okay.
We need to start before we mix it up with the.
Okay.
Can sign.
I'll entertain a motion for agenda item number 15 to take action on the Commissioner Court minutes.
Did y'all have any problems with the minutes?
No.
Judge, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner King, seconded by Commissioner Perdola regarding agenda item number 15. Any other discussion?
None.
Very good. Call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes.
We need to sign each one of these. Where did Bruce go? Oh, she's over there.
Agenda item number 16, we have Ms. Jaylynn Bodiford, our Human Resource Specialist, presentation of payroll and personnel changes.
Good morning. Skylar Daly was hired as a patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Department, making $23.73 per hour or $51,826.32 annually effective April 1st. And Andres Morales was hired as a patrol deputy for the Sheriff's Department, making $23.73 per hour or $51,826.32 annually effective April the 8th.
The two new deputies, are they the ones that the sheriff had sent to the academy, or?
The second one is,
Okay.
Mr. Morales is. There was two prior to this, Heather Spahn, Blaine Michigamba as well.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We have Ms. Brenda, agenda item number 17, Ms. Brenda Trevino, County Auditor, discuss take action on county bills.
Yes, Judge. So I have a total of bills to be, that I've reviewed for $315,148.88.
And did you see my change? $165 that went from precinct 4 to precinct 2 for signs.
Oh, he may have changed it, I don't know.
I just know the original didn't reflect it,
Oh, okay.
because she sent it out at the same time, and the company had invoiced the wrong precinct.
This is precinct 3.
Yeah, so 4, so now it's still on mine.
Okay, so 165 needs to be changed to precinct
The
3.
line item moved to precinct 2,
Precinct 2.
Commissioner King's.
I will make that change.
Where this pen at?
Also, Commissioners, and I'll be sending out an email to all departments as well, but Amanda will be attending the Auditors Institute next week with me. So she's asking, if at all possible, all invoices to be emailed to her by the end of this week, preferably by Thursday, so that she can get everything entered and sent out to everybody for the next court by the end of this week. Kristen will be here, so if there are any late stragglers that come in, we can still add them, but the majority of them we want to try to get in by the end of this week, by Thursday.
I did look over the bills. I saw them. In the email that they sent, I reviewed them.
I'll entertain a motion for agenda item number 17.
I'll make a motion that we approve the bills as presented by the auditor.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Perdola, seconded by Commissioner Aiken. Any other discussion on agenda item number 17? Hear none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against? Ayes have it, motion passes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Aiken, seconded by Commissioner Perdola. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those against, motion passes. We are adjourned.